सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारंभं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शंकरं लोकशंकरं पुराण न्याय मीमांसा धर्मशास्त्रांग मिश्रिताः वेदाः स्थानानि विद्यानां धर्मस्य च चतुर्दश आयुर्वेदो धनुर्वेदो गान्धर्वश्चैव ते त्रयः अर्थशास्त्रं चतुर्थन्तु विद्याः अष्टादशैव ताः। ओम शांतिः शांतिः शांतिः। श्रीराम श्रीराम श्रीरामचन्द्र कृपालु भज मन हरण भव भयदारुणम् नवकञ्जलोचन कञ्जमुख करकञ्ज पदकञ्जारुणम् श्रीराम श्रीराम। कंदर्पगणित अमित छवि नवनीलदीरद सुन्दरम् पटपीतमानः तडितरुचिशुचि नौमि जनक सुतावरम् श्रीरामचन्द्र कृपालु भज मन हरण भव भयदारुणम् नवकञ्जलोचन कञ्जमुख करकञ्ज पदकञ्जारुणम् श्रीराम श्रीराम। जय सिया राम, जय श्री राम। Namaste. I welcome everyone who has joined Rama, 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 the resonance, a countdown to Ayodhya from the 10th to the 21st of January 2024 between 9 and 9:30 p.m. IST, brought to you by IndicA. A few words first about IndicA. We are an institute for Indian knowledge systems. We envision the well-being of all beings. We believe the wisdom of Indic heritage fosters health, happiness, and harmony for humanity. We have a twofold mission for advancing IKS, as in Indian knowledge systems. We offer unique, authentic, and immersive learning experiences. We enable leaders to fulfill their potential, passion, and purpose. Rama, Rama, Rama is brought to you by multiple centers of IndicA. The centers of IndicA are the following that you see on the slide right now, and you can access details of each one of them from our website. This series began with Rāmāyaṇa across bhashas, presented by IndicA Bhasha. That was followed by Rāmāyaṇa as the gateway to self-knowledge, brought to you by IndicA Moksha. That was then followed by a conversation between Ajay Vishwanath ji and Radhakrishnan ji, which was presented by Institute of Indic Wisdom, followed by Awakening Rama Within by Dr. Prasad Kaipa. That was then followed by a storyteller's take on the Sutra of the Crauncher from Valmiki to Southeast Asia, presented by IndicA Center for Soft Power. This was by Vikram Sridhar. That was then followed by Lullabies to Baby Rama by Madhuvanti Badrinath and Dr. Rama Kaushalya. Today, we are in the second part of a two-part talk, Dharma in Ramayana, brought to you by IndicA Center for Jurisprudence Studies. Tomorrow will be a talk by Dr. Vasant Kumar M. Bhattaji, brought to you by IndicA today. And the last in this series, on the 21st, again brought to you by IndicA today, would be Anurgraha, Conversations with Sri Sri Abhinava Shankara Bharati Mahaswamigal, 72nd Peethadipati, Srimad Jagadguru Shankaracharya, Kundali Sringeri. With that, this is the schedule. And like I said, we are on the 19th today, which is Dharma in Ramayana, the second part of it. Some of you might have joined yesterday, and for those who did not join in yesterday, Dharma in Ramayana is a two-part talk that will focus on some of the close to 1,000 references to Dharma in the critical edition of the Valmiki Ramayana and more. Center for Jurisprudence Studies, we seek to make Indic knowledge systems relevant in the field of contemporary law and practice. We seek to build a global ecosystem of institutions and intellectuals committed to Shastra's law and justice. We organize talks, workshops, seminars, and conferences. Dharma and Ramayana is brought to you by IndicA's Center for Jurisprudence Studies. Well, yesterday we saw what a critical edition was. We also saw the 7 volumes of the Bori Oriental Institute's critical edition of the Valmiki Ramayana. Thereafter, we also saw the total number of manuscripts across these volumes, both from the northern and the southern, broken down into the northern and the southern components. Thereafter, we saw a snapshot, a bird's eye view of all the references to Dharma that I could find in the critical edition of the Valmiki Ramayana. Like I had mentioned yesterday, insofar as I could see, there are at least 979 lines that attest the string Dharma, and those 979 were broken down across the 7 volumes as follows. We saw this yesterday as well, but I'm just refreshing that. 137 in Balakanda, 260 in Ayodhya Kanda, 114 in Aranya Kanda, 112 in Sundara Kanda, 58 in Kishkindha Kanda, 128 in Yuddha Kanda, and 170 in Uttara Kanda. Just reiterating that I may have missed out, perhaps, some references which contain Dharma in it, and therefore I'm saying it is at least 979. We also saw the first 2 references that contain verses that contain Dharma, which happen to be verse number 112 and 1112 yesterday. And that's where the conversation yesterday ended. I will take off from there. And the plan for today is to cover as many as we can of the 979 and from the first Balakanda, that is, from the first Kanda. Okay. Now, what I will do is I will play the audio of the line that contains Dharma and then read out the translation of the verse that line belongs to so that one gets a sense of that particular reference. Obviously, like I mentioned yesterday, it would be impossible to cover all the 979. But let's see how far we go so that we begin to get a sense of what are the different uses of Dharma in the Valmiki Ramayana. This exercise would also perhaps help one understand why one should do as extensive a study as they can before they opine on a particular idea or a particular word in a particular text. It perhaps always helps to see that word across the entire text before talking on behalf of that text for that particular word. So, with that as a background, let me start. 1:1:13.
रक्षिता जीवलोकस्य धर्मस्य परिरक्षिता.
Dharmasya, of code of morals. Auspicious like Brahma, Sri Rama is the sustainer of this world, destroyer of enemies, and protector of all living beings and of the moral code.
धनधेन समस्त्यागे सत्ये धर्म इवापरः.
Dharma ivaparaha, aparaha dharmaha iva, like the sun. Sri Rama is like Vishnu in prowess, the moon in pleasing appearance, the all-consuming fire in anger, the earth in patience, Kubera in charity, and the sun in steadfastness.
स सत्यवचनाद्राजा धर्मपाशेन संयतः.
Dharma pashena, by the bond of duty. Dasharatha, true to his word and restrained by the bond of duty, sent his beloved son Rama to the forest.
स चास्य कथयामास शबरीं धर्मचारिणीं. श्रवणीं धर्मनिपुणामभिगच्छेति राघव.
Dharma Nipunama, mighty, proficient in practicing austerities, duties. Mighty armed Rama, having killed Kabandha, consigned his body to flames. While leaving for heavens, he informed him, saying, quote, O Raghava, there is a female ascetic in Shabada community, performing religious duties and proficient in practicing austerities. You may visit her. Unquote.
चातुर्वर्ण्यं च लोकेऽस्मिन् स्वे स्वे धर्मे नियोक्ष्यति.
Dharme, duties here. Rama will establish hundredfold royal dynasties and employ the four Varnas to do their respective duties in this world.
पूजयामास धर्मात्मा सह शिष्यो महामुनिः.
Dharmatma, righteous. On hearing the words of Narada, the distinguished and righteous sage Valmiki, proficient in composing shlokas, worshipped him along with his disciples.
ऋषेर्धर्मात्मनस्तस्य कारुण्यं समपद्यत.
Dharmatmanaha, of the righteous minded. Then, having seen the bird struck down by the fowler, the pious sage Valmiki was filled with compassion.
ततः करुणवेदित्वा अधर्मोऽयमिति द्विजः.
Adharmaha, unrighteous act. Having heard the wailing of the female bird, the sage Valmiki, moved to pity at this irreligious act, uttered the following words.
स प्रविश्याश्रमपदं शिष्येण सह धर्मवित्.
Dharmavita, knower of righteousness. Valmiki, who knows Dharma, entered the hermitage along with his disciple and sat in meditation and composed other stories.
धर्मात्मनो गुणवतो लोके रामस्य धीमतः.
Dharmatmanaha, of the righteous natured. Narrate the history of Rama, who is renowned for righteousness, virtues, wisdom, and steadfastness in the manner you have heard it from sage Narada.
श्रुत्वा वस्तु समग्रं तद्धर्मात्मा धर्मसंहितं.
Dharmatma, the righteous one. Hearing the entire story of Rama from the intellectual Narada, the righteous Valmiki sought to know clearly more about the history of Rama, endowed with wisdom.
प्राचीनाग्रेषु दर्भेषु धर्मेणान्वेषते गतिम्.
Dharmena, with the power of penance. Having performed Achamana, Valmiki, seated on kusha grass with folded palms, searched for the course of past events in the history of Rama by his power of penance.
कुशीलगौ तु धर्मज्ञौ राजपुत्रौ यशस्विनौ.
Dharmajno, the two had knowledge of Dharma. The sage saw the two illustrious princely brothers, well versed in Dharma and endowed with a sweet voice, living in the hermitage.
तौ राजपुत्रौ कार्त्स्येन धर्म्यमाख्यानमुत्तमम्.
Dharmyam, based on Dharma. These two princes, blameless, disciplined, and well versed, committed to memory the whole epic and chanted and as instructed in the assembly of Rishis, Brahmins, and saints.
ते प्रीतमनसः सर्वे मुनयो धर्मवत्सलाः.
Dharmavatsalaha te sarve, all those who love Dharma. All the sages steeped in Dharma, pleased with them, praised the admirable Kusha and Lava as they sang.
धर्मकामार्थ सहितं श्रोतव्यमनसूयया
Dharma Kamartha Sahitam, incorporating the merits of Dharma, Artha, and Kama. I shall propagate this Ramayanam, incorporating the merits of Dharma, Artha, and Kama, and complete in all respects. It deserves to be heard right from the start without prejudice.
इक्ष्वाकूनामतिरथो यजिवा धर्मरतो वशी
Dharma Rataha, devoted to the practice of Dharma. From that city of Ayodhya, King Dasharatha ruled the entire world following the tradition of Manu, who was a highly powerful protector of the people. Dasharatha was well versed in the Vedas. He commanded all resources, far-sighted, he possessed great prowess. He was dear to the inhabitants of towns and villages. Among Ikshwaku kings, he was a great charioteer capable of fighting with many Maharathas single-handed. He performed many sacrifices and was devoted to the practice of Dharma.
तस्मिन् पुरवरे हृष्टा धर्मात्मना बहुश्रुताः
Dharmatmanaha, virtuous. The people living in that excellent city were happy, virtuous, well read in the Vedas and the Shastras, and content with the possessions of their own. They were free from avarice and always spoke the truth.
सर्वे नराश्च नार्यश्च धर्मशीलाः सुसंज्ञिताः
Dharmashila, righteous in conduct. All men and women in the city were of righteous conduct, fully self-controlled and prosperous, with good conduct and behavior. They were pure like Maharushis.
दीर्घायुषो नराः सर्वे धर्मं सत्यं च संश्रिताः
Dharmam, righteousness. There in Ayodhya, the best of cities, the first of the four Varnas, used to worship gods and guests. They had the sense of gratitude, they were munificent, heroic, and possessed prowess. They lived long, they were righteous and truthful.
शूद्राः स्वधर्मनिरतास्त्रीन् वर्णानुपचारिणः
Swadharma nirataha, fully occupied in their respective professions.
अवेक्षमाणचारेण प्रजाधर्मेण रञ्जयन्
Dharmena, with righteousness. In the three worlds, he, Dasharatha, was acclaimed in the three worlds as munificent and upholder of truth, a tiger among men who ruled, protecting and guarding the people through spice. He ruled the kingdom with righteousness by deserting irreligious and keeping subjects happy.
तस्य त्वेवं प्रभावस्य धर्मज्ञस्य महात्मनः
Dharmajnasya, of the knower of righteousness. Such a majestic, righteous, and magnanimous king had no son to perpetuate the race, even though he performed austerities for one.
मन्त्रिभिः सह धर्मात्मा सर्वैरेव कृतात्मभिः
Dharmatma, pious, having made up his mind to perform the sacrifice, that sagacious and pious king, in consultation with his wise ministers, issued the following command to Sumantra, the best of ministers: bring all my spiritual preceptors along with family priests.
भवन्तः श्रुतधर्माणो लोके चारित्रवेदिनः
Shruta Dharmanaha,
अनपत्योऽस्मि धर्मात्मन् शान्ता भर्ता मम क्रतुम्
Dharmatman, O follower of righteousness. O righteous king, I am issueless. Let Rishyashringa, husband of Santa, be ordered to perform a sacrificial ceremony so that I shall be blessed with a son for the perpetuation of my race.
ऋष्यशृङ्गं द्विजश्रेष्ठं वरयिष्यति धर्मवित्
Dharmavita, knower of Dharma. King Dasharatha, lord of the people and knower of Dharma and truth, desirous of performing the sacrifice, would ask Rishashringa with folded palms for granting a boon to perform a sacrifice in order to obtain children and to attain heaven.
तान् पूजयित्वा धर्मात्मा राजा दशरथस्तदा
Dharmatma, virtuous. After paying respect to them, learned Brahmins, virtuous King Dasharatha graciously uttered these words charged with Dharma and Artha.
इदं धर्मार्थसहितं श्लक्ष्णं वचनमब्रवीत्
Dharmajnam, knower of righteousness.
ततो द्विजास्ते धर्मज्ञमस्तु वन्पार्थिवर्षभम्
This was the reference for that. Dharmajnam, knower of righteousness. Admiring the great king, the knower of righteousness, the Brahmins, permitted by him, returned to their places as they had sung.
स्वयमेव हि धर्मात्मा प्रययो निशासनात्
Dharmatma, righteous. In accordance with the ascetics order, righteous Sumantra himself quickly set out to escort Janaka and other kings.
अवसद्रजनीमेकां कौसल्या धर्मकाम्यया
Dharma Kamyaya, with devotion to duty. Kaushalya, in her devotion to duty and with a happy state of mind, passed one night near that horse.
धर्मज्ञस्य वदान्यस्य महर्षिसमतेजसः
Dharmajnasya, of the righteous.
चिन्तयामास धर्मात्मा सोपाध्यायः सबान्धवः
Dharmatma, the virtuous.
यदि ते धर्मलाभं च यशश्च परमं मुनि
Dharmalabham, benefits of righteousness.
इत्येवमुक्त्वा धर्मात्मा धर्मार्थसहितं वचः
Dharmartha Sahitam, meaning containing religious merit.
ज्येष्ठं धर्मप्रधानं च न रामं नेतुमर्हसि
Dharma Pradhanam Cha, with virtue as prime qualification.
सत्वं प्रसादं धर्मज्ञ कुरुष्व मम पुत्रके
Dharmajna, O knower of truth.
इक्ष्वाकूणां कुले जातः साक्षात् धर्म इवापरः
Dharmam, virtuousness.
धृतिमान् सुव्रतः श्रीमान् न धर्मं हातुमर्हसि त्रिषु लोकेषु विख्यातो धर्मात्मा इति राघवः
Dharmatma iti, as righteous minded.
स्वधर्मं प्रतिपद्यस्व नाधर्मं वोढुमर्हसि
Swadharmam, your own duty. Adharmam, unjust act.
एष विग्रहवान् धर्म एष वीर्यवतां वरः
Dharmaha, righteousness.
अपूर्वाणां च जनने शक्तो भूयश्च धर्मवित्
Dharmavita, virtuous.
शिष्या धर्मपरा वीर तेषां पापं न विद्यते
Dharmaparaha, righteous again.
कथयामास धर्मात्मा तस्य शब्दस्य निश्चयम्
Dharmatma, righteous minded one. Now, I am mindful of time, and given that we have the time that we have right now, we obviously won't be able to go through all the references of Dharma in the entire critical edition of the Valmiki Ramayana, not even all the references in the first Kanda, that is Balakanda. But the purpose of this exercise, at least one of the reasons, I wanted to do this step by step, going through every single reference in that order, is for us to get a sense of the kind of work that actually needs to go in to be able to enunciate on a particular idea in a particular text. Now, unless one actually, at least in my view, goes through every reference of that particular idea in that text, ideally read the entire text, but if not, at least read every reference to that, to that idea in its context. Until one does that, it perhaps is hard to actually speak authoritatively about that particular idea when saying about the text as a whole, unless one is speaking just a particular reference. Then one needs to qualify it by saying that they are speaking about only that reference. So with that, I would like to bring this second part of this two-part talk, Dharma in Ramayana, to an end. As was mentioned earlier, the focus was on only some of the many references. For those who have now got a sense and would like to dive deeper, you know exactly the size that you're looking at when you're contending with this idea. With that, I'll now close this part with a chant, and I hope you can join me in. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasra Nama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. 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 Jai Siya Ram. Jai Shri Ram. Namaste.